Okay, so I done had to redo the second video, so if y'all watch the third video, it may or may not make sense. Anyway, here we go. Alright, so I want to show you a video real quick. Alright, hold on.
You can be like, I'm not black. Meanwhile, the picture of their abuelita in the living room.
Do you want to know why most Dominicans and Puerto Ricans, particularly the Afro-Latinos, the black Latinos, don't like to claim blackness or African or Afrocentrism? You want to know why? Because when slavery was going on, the breaking of the slave was so horrendous in the Caribbean, you couldn't imagine. Not to say over in the United States and in the southern plantations, we didn't have our fair share of nightmares. Best believe we did. But in the Caribbean, it was a totally different beast. We were in the Caribbean in 1555, and we got fucked up out there. Really fucked up out there. They put up something called the caste system, which is racial hierarchy. Did you know that? Spanish people, white Spanish people, then people born in New Spain of Spanish descent, mestizos, basically Spanish and Native American descent, Native American, then African. So don't tell me there's no such thing as a race thing in the Caribbean. There is. There's colorism, there's all of that. There's also some things where they want to perfect the race, basically. Don't date anybody darker, or Africano, or Negro. So we be careful of that. So that's taught in the Caribbean. Also, another factor is, because they were also very broken and suffering from self-hatred, what happens is, during the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, when a lot of people from the Caribbean were migrating, immigrating to America, what was going on in America?
Okay, so let's unpack what was in the video. Basically, like, he was just basically saying, like, you know, Dominicans kind of felt like we didn't go through the same stuff that they went through in racism, and then they want to say that saying basically like they have a caste system there, you know what I mean? It's like a colorist system in their country, you know, where fair skin is, you know, preference over darker skin. But to me, I'm not gonna say that he was wrong in that video, but and there was some things that I can't confirm or deny. But I will say this, like, we have a caste system here, you know, in the U.S. I mean, I think there was, after the diaspora of African people, I mean, I think everybody went through a caste system. You know, I think it's a little bit different here in the U.S. though, if I must be honest. The caste system is still the same, darker skin, no matter what race, culture, and or ethnicity you are. Like, there's a caste system, you know. And for him to basically say, like, you know, that they didn't accept black people because of that reason was kind of wild to me. But I don't think that he's wrong. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that he's wrong, really. Because there are a lot of different, like, races, I'll just say foreign black people. There's a lot of foreign black people that come to this country, you know, and they all look at us differently, you know, and then it's a lot of foreign people, period, that come to this country and they look at us differently, you know. So on the outside looking in, you know, I think that maybe the other countries see something that we don't see, you know, whether they are black or not. But I think that in each country, we've all faced treacherous, like, slave histories, you know, that has conditioned us to be the way that we are today, you know. But what I think they failed to, what I think he failed to explain in the video was basically like, that's not just in black culture though. To be honest, if we're gonna speak on it on a world, on a global level, that ain't just in black cultures, because I don't think there are too many cultures, period, that accept darker skinned people over preference to lighter skin. To be honest. And that's any race. You know. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that a lot of Jewish people and a lot of, like, Jewish people and Italian people, some of their people are darker. And I'm saying just like white people, right? And some of their people are, you know, just notably darker, you know, whiter skinned people. And I think they kind of face prejudice as well in their white culture. And of course, you know, all the different races after that as well. I think lighter skin is just preference in every culture, honestly. But as far as, like, Dominican, darker black Dominican people not accepting black people. That's a thing that happens here too. And this just goes back to the other topic of me talking about African Americans. Like, I like the fact that people can call me an African American. You know what I'm saying? Because that's who I am. I do culturally black people shit all the time. And I love my blackness, because not just because of my skin color. You know what I'm saying? Not just because of what I can do, but, and I mean, like, when I say what I can do, I mean, athletically, we reign supreme in a lot of ways, athletically, right? So when I say it's not just because of what I look like and what I can do, but because of who I am. I like collard greens and cornbreads. I like neck bones. I like bacon. All the pig. I like all the pig. I even like chitlins, but I don't eat them because they squishy. I don't like squishy stuff. That's weird. But seriously, just being black and who I am, like, I love that. But I know, like, a lot of people suffer. Well, I ain't gonna say they suffer, but they might suffer with dealing with it. You know what I'm saying? With being black. Period. Because we've been conditioned, taught, and hurt for so long, not to, like, love ourselves, right? And who we are. And I remember one of my old professors, and we were talking about language. We were talking about languages, right? And they weren't from the country. So they were they were foreign. So they was from out of the country. And we were just talking, she was like, look at Ebonics. That's what we was talking about, Ebonics. Because I came to her and I was like, girl, what the heck? Like, what are you teaching us right now? And she was like, look at the language of Ebonics, your slang terms. She was like, that's your language. As African American, that's your language, that's your culture, that's who you are. Right? But we've been taught to say that that's ghetto. It's no good. It's broken English. It's bad. But that's genuinely who we are. That's our language. And so many people say that we've lost our culture. And it's like, did we lose our culture? Or did we just create a new one? Right? In this world where we fight so much to be included, where do we draw the line of, like, being included and losing ourselves? In our fight to be considered, treated as Americans, where do we compromise as being an American and then being ourselves? Whether we be Hispanic, whether we be Dominican, whether we be African American, or whether we be African American. You know what I'm saying? Like Pakistani American, whatever. Like, where is the line drawn to where we can be ourselves? Culturally, be ourselves. Versus, well, not versus, but, and still be treated as American. Right? But like I said, I want to touch back on this for a second. Like I said, a lot of the entertainers are looked at as clowns. And I'm just saying clowns, right? Because there's so many different, things that people say. But I just say clowns because they try to make them out to be a joke. But the truth is that what they wear, the stories that they tell, the culture that it is, what it's becoming, and I speak on hip hop right now. That's us. That's us. And what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? That's who we are. I like collard greens, cornbreads, neck bones. You heard me? I love it all. But that's who I am. Am I supposed to feel some type of way about it? I'm silly. I'm loud. I can dance. I can do this. I can do that. I can do all that. Because that's who I am. It's important to me that I learn how to cook. Because that's who I am. In my culture, we have to learn how to cook. I'm sorry. You hear me? But that's who I am. So where is the line drawn to where there's acceptance and inclusion as an American, but there's an acceptance of culturally who I am? So when we say that African Americans or black people have lost their culture, did we lose it or did we just create a new one? But we still held on to our true beings and who we are, whether we know it or not. People speak a lot about the man in the mirror. But as people living in America, white, black, green, blue, what's wrong with having differences as cultural people? What's wrong with that? You know, it shouldn't be a big deal. Where is the line drawn?